all these feelings and you're still developing, your brain is still growing. So naturally you're going through what is probably the hardest time for anybody in their lives because you don't know who you are. You feel this enormous pressure to tell people who you are so that they will either not judge you or at least be like, yeah, please join our group. And so you have to dedicate yourself to these things. You're like, well, I don't know if that's who I am, but I don't want to be out here in the cold, so I'm going to join this group. And then do what they do, because I don't want to, I'm going to listen to their music, or I'm going to do something. I got anything to fit in, because we're terrified of being cast off. And that's a very old, deep fear that comes from an early stage of our development as a species. We're like, if you weren't part of the group, you couldn't survive on your own. And that still carries with us, so we carry that fear of being cast off because it's death. And in places like school, where you're just with a bunch of strangers without a directed goal, because honestly, society's not interested in teaching you anything in high school. They're just like, you're a liability to us right now because you're young, and we don't want you out there on your own doing things, so we're just gonna put you in a pen for 12 years until you've matured enough to be, someone of use to a corporation or whatever. I mean, I hate to be cynical, but that's the truth. That's the social design. So here you are in this school, just kind of marking time until society can find you useful to put you to work, and there's no directed goal. So it devolves into this series of cliques and hierarchies where there's no one thing everyone's into, or there's no directed goal so everyone can get along. Because you'll find people that are complete enemies will get along if the situation is such that we all need to be working together. If you don't believe that, say, people can reach across the aisle politically, okay, we'll put them on a plane that's going down together, and they all have a solution, then they'll work together. And not that everything has to be a catastrophe, but in the absence of a goal, a group of people will just and become essentially, seriously, everyone just it devolves into chaos. So that's why it's important when you realize if you're in the midst of in high school and things are awful because you don't know who you are and you feel like people pick on you or whatever, it's important to know that this is not how things are supposed to be. It's a weird byproduct of bad social design, and once you get out of it, once you're lucky enough to graduate or move on to college or not college if you don't want to do that, whatever, once you're able to go out of the world and choose your own group, to choose the people you want to hang around, it's different. You're like, oh, awesome, you can find the people that like anime. And oh my God, I just realized, oh shit, there's a lot of people. This is great. You can find people that are literature nerds. You can find other bisexuals, other gay people, other people that struggle with the same thing. And it's not something you have a chance to do when you're not in a group, when you're in a group not of your own choosing. Because there's too much at stake. When you're in a group not of your own choosing, you feel terrible. You feel like you're less likely to assert yourself because you're not really sure whose side am I on, who's on mine, I don't know. So you just keep your head down. You keep a low profile to survive. So all that is to say that it gets better because eventually you're not in that situation. Eventually you get out of it and you don't have to deal with the people anymore that you didn't want to deal with. You can,
And it can take work. It can take a lot of work to find your tribe and to find your people. I know a lot of people that are really, really miserable and unhappy where they are, but they feel like, oh, it's such a chore to move or to change careers. I mean, these are people who are really young, and so they're just starting out on a career, and they're thinking like, oh, well, yeah, this is a really good school, but it's going to take so much work to get into it, I can't do it. And I'm sitting here, and this has happened with friends of mine who they've been hard workers all through school, but then something about the graduation process is just freaking them out, and they'll go, oh, I can't move to this place because there's a really good school there. I don't know if I can get in, blah, blah, blah. Try it. Because I know so many people who have gone to places and have found their tribes and have put the work in, and they're so much happier now because of it. And I would say it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, and it's a fear of failure, like with anything. We're so terrified of failing because we don't want to look back. And we don't want to look back. We don't want people to go, oh, you're a failure, get out. I mean, and that's a real fear. I mean, I don't mean to make fun of it, but I'd make fun of it in myself. I fear failing, but it's taken me a long time to learn that I'm only where I am because I failed. People say, oh my God, I wish I could do what you do. I'm like, oh, you know why I can do it? Because I failed more than you. I've fallen on my ass so many times and gotten up, and so I get better at it every time. That's the thing. You go out, you do something, fail, get back up, fail better, and you keep doing it, and that's life, And there's so much pressure put on us, and we put a lot of that pressure on ourselves to be perfect, to be what other people want us to be. And the trick to getting out of that mindset, at least for me, was learning that no one is nearly as invested in that illusion as I am. Like, this person, like, why do I want to please this person? Why do I want to be this person to this stranger over here just because I want them to accept me? Because they're not over there agonizing about whether I'm the person they want me to be. They don't care that much. Why do I care that much? You know, it's as you get older, it's for me at least this was the case, as you get older, you get more comfortable not knowing who you are. I don't know who I am. I get to know myself a little better every day. You don't have to know who you are to be who you are. You know, knowing who you are is the privilege of a lifetime. I might have a grip on who I am as a person when I'm in my 90s on my deathbed and go like, oh, that makes sense. But it's this idea that like you have to make this, there's too much what I call, I teach an acting class, and in the acting class it's basically trying to teach people how to unlearn habits that make it difficult to just be real with people, because I'm all about acting should be real. That's you know, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but acting should be real, and when it's not, people kind of turn away from it. There's something about it that doesn't click because it doesn't sound real. So I talk a lot about the idea of impression management. We all know what that is. It's the idea of like, you know, you every interaction you have, either on social media or in meat space, is you know, you have your idea of like how it's going to go, so you kind of fake your way through it because you don't want to look bad. You're terrified of looking bad. And I'm telling you, things get so much better when you get over the need to not look bad. Like you just let go. Let's look bad. Interesting things happen when you let yourself look bad, or when you let go of needing to be perfect is probably a better way of putting it. I said this yesterday to someone, like all the things about you that are really interesting to people who really love you live in the imperfections that you yourself, you know, aren't comfortable with. We try so hard to be loved by other people for things that we want to be loved by, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's also important to accept that people love you for things that you may not like about yourself, and that's none of your business. People love you for the reasons they love you. Learn to live positively, or to live in someone else's positive view of you. It's weird that it seems to be a flaw of our design. Thank you, Santa. That honestly means more to you than you know. You know, I love Santa Claus so much. Thank you for coming. But it's important to live in the positive view someone else has of you, and it's so important not to overlook that, because there's a weird design flaw in the human brain. You have 100 people line up that you know well, and they can look you deeply in the eye and tell you, I love you because. And the next person can go, I love you because of this, and they can all be things that can really, really hit, and you would feel great. One complete stranger can tell you something negative, and that's what you will hold on to. You completely cast out all the people that love you, because the one person that had the strongest voice for some reason is the complete stranger douchebag who's just like, I hate your hair. And that's for some reason what sticks in your mind. Please understand that that's just a weird tick of your own brain, and don't cast off the people that love you just because they love you for reasons that you're not necessarily comfortable with. Again, the best parts about who you are live in the imperfections. That's what I believe. Rah! I love you all.